5 years. 5 years, I lost money. 5 years, I was broke as a joke, ready to choke, going to opportunity meetings, parking my rusted out, broke mobile blocks away from the venue so nobody would see what a life of poverty I was living in while I tried to sell the dream. In my network marketing career, I went from struggling, losing money for 5 years to becoming one of the highest income earners in the world and producing more than $22 billion worth of revenue for my team and my clients. I'm Randy Gage, and this is the Duplication Nation MLM Pod. Hey everybody, I'm Randy Gage, the other guy on the screen, that way, this way, depending what software you're using, is the incredibly talented Jaime Lokier, coming to you live and in color from Uruguay in Montevideo.
Yes, I'm very happy to be here.
Okay, so coming from Montevideo, I'm in my place in Miami, and I want to share my journey of broke as a joke, losing money for 5 years, to becoming one of the highest paid income earners in the world and producing $22 billion worth of revenue for myself, my team, clients, and proteges. And we're going to take you on that journey today. We call this How to Build a Multi-Level Money Machine. And of course, if you've been in the profession a while, then you know that was actually the title of my first book, 1996. How to Build a Multi-Level Money Machine. It sold more than 2 million copies across 21 or 22 languages. It was the Bible of the profession for a lot of people. Now, I need to clarify, do not order that book today. Do not buy that book. If you have a copy, save it for the museum, but don't read it, don't use it, because it was written in 1996. I wrote a replacement book, Direct Selling Success, to update how things are really working in the market right now. But as we were looking back at this program we're doing for you today, we were like, what do we call this thing? We just went back and forth, and we ended up saying, we got to go back to that title of that, because that's really what this is about. Because that journey of struggling to becoming wealthy involved a framework. And that's the framework we're going to share with you today. We're going to talk about the lessons we both learned along the way of my journey and then Jaime's journey. I want to share the lesson I learned from the guy I am calling the Pablo Escobar of MLM. And we're going to alert you to a special program, how you can get to the point where you are enrolling between 500 and 5,000 people on your team every month. So that's kind of how I would set the stage, Jaime. Anything? What would you add to that?
Yeah, just as part of the introduction, I know that people is used to having all these clickbaity titles, and people tell you this is where you're gonna learn how to build a multi-million-dollar machine, and then you go there and you don't learn anything of that. People must know, you must know, if you're watching us, that this is very serious. We're going to talk about things that we've been doing for a long time. And if by some reason you're here and you don't know any of us, the other guy, Randy Gage, is the one that has written and sold more books about network marketing than any other person alive. And he's the number one consultant for companies, for teaching companies how to do this in a big way and a sustained way, because you can build huge things just with energy, but that doesn't mean that's gonna last. And that's the core of what we teach. And I'm the same with the Latin American market. I'm the guy teaching companies how to implement systems and how to do all the marketing and all the training for their teams. So this is something that really works long term. And that's what we're going to teach you. And we're going to invite 35 of you. And this is only for 35 people because we don't have more space. But we're going to invite 35 people to a risk-free experience, which will be a lab where we can build that together. And that's something we're going to talk to you about also here. So be ready for the most important information of your career. Please kill all distractions. We're going to be together between 90 and 120 minutes. That's going to be up to 2 hours. So be sure that you have a portable toilet with you, or at least some water. Please tell your family that you need these 2 hours, because you don't know what are the 10 seconds of information that will actually boost all your results. And you want to be on those 10 seconds here with us with all your attention. And be sure to have somewhere to take a lot of notes. This is very important. You need to really grasp this information, and that's something you can only do if you write down everything you get from us. So only that, Randy Gage, let's go.
So where did I go after those 5 years? Well, I had a meeting with myself. What we call in our English slang here, we'd say a come to Jesus meeting. So I had a come to Jesus meeting with myself, and I just said, wow, either this whole network marketing thing is just smoke and mirrors, it's just a scam, doesn't really work, or there's a problem with me. So which one is it? Does this stuff really work and I don't work, or is it just I work but this stuff doesn't work? And I looked back at the companies I had worked with in those 5 years, and I had bounced around, became an MLM zombie. I was working 10 companies at one point. Well, if I could just get $1,000 a month in 10 different companies, that would make me $10,000 a month, which was my first big stretch dream goal. And I looked at those companies, and some of them were just ridiculous scams that anybody with some intelligence would have known that that's not a legitimate company. But there were legitimate direct selling companies that were doing great. And people really were driving those bonus cars and cashing those big checks and winning those cruises and traveling the beaches of the world together. So I realized, okay, the problem is me. I need to learn how to enroll. I'm not enrolling enough people, and the people I'm enrolling aren't staying in. So my first breakthrough was developing a 5-component framework. Like, here's 5 important things. And then I concentrated on becoming a better presenter and becoming amazing on stage, doing presentations 5 nights a week. That graduated to creating the framework, which is still to this day the most effective framework for making a presentation. There's 7 different components, and Jaime and I actually authored a special report on this, and I'm hoping a lot of you already have it. But it shows the 7 components that have to be in a presentation to be optimal effectiveness. But what happened along the way is I realized, okay, I have some beliefs I need to destroy. I'm thinking that the really top levels of success are only for certain people. And some of you watching this, that's where your epiphany is going to be. That's where your breakthrough is going to be over the course of the next 90 minutes or 2 hours, is you're going to recognize the breakthrough that you need, which will be created by blowing up the limiting belief that you have. Now, that may be a limiting belief about prosperity. You subconsciously think money is evil, rich people are evil, it's spiritual to be poor, you don't deserve to be healthy, happy, and prosperous. Maybe a belief about the business. Oh, you have to get in at the top. You have to know people. You need to get a special deal. Only people who live in big cities are successful. Only people who live in small towns are successful. What I guess the most important thing I would say at this point to everyone watching and listening is you probably never had you never had a chance. Like, I look at those first 5 years and I realize I never had a chance because I didn't know this framework that we're going to share with you today. So there is legitimate how to build a multi-million-dollar business. And that's what we're talking about. We're not, if you're looking for a thing on how to get 4 new customers or how to get 10 people to follow you on Instagram or whatever, click out now, save yourself the time. This training is specifically dedicated to how to become a multi-million-dollar producer. And to do that, you've got to understand this framework and you got to operate by it. And if you don't understand the framework, you didn't have a chance. So please stop beating yourself up. Understand, hey, I didn't know the real model, and that's why I didn't get to the level of success that I wanted to. That's what I would say, Jaime.
Yeah, I just want to add 2 quick things. The first one is that it works even if you don't know what you're doing. And this, I'm the vivid example of that because I was very lucky when I joined network marketing. I had no experience. I was in debt to my knees. I mean, I wasn't successful in my previous life, but I got to a team where Randy implemented this framework for everyone. So I just learned it. And I built a team where we had 60,000 people on the team. We broke every record that there was in network marketing in Mexico with also my sponsors because we were working together all the time. And it was something huge. And we didn't understand this framework. We just implemented what someone else told us to do. Now, someone needs to do it. And if in your company this is not a reality, then you are the one who needs to implement it. And many, many thousands of people will benefit from it. And in a huge way, you can't imagine the impact you can have in the lives of people who implement this, even if they don't understand what they're doing. And we're gonna go very deep into this, and we're not just gonna teach you this, we're gonna build it with you. If you're one of those 35 people that we're gonna meet in Vegas, we're going from June 5 to June 8. So it's 4 days in Vegas. It's something only in person, 4 days to learn how to do this and implement this as a lab. But don't think of it as a couple nerds with their robes on a lab. This is like the SpaceX lab. You know, if SpaceX would do network marketing, this would be the place where they design things that work better than anything else. That's what we're gonna do in Vegas, and it's gonna be amazing. So keep around. But before that, we need to go deep into some stuff that will change your team forever. And I want to start doing this like an interview. And of course, I'm going to answer my own questions too, but I want to use these questions as the icebreakers, so we can talk about the important things that people should know. So Randy, if you're up to it, I would love to start by asking you, what do you think is the most harmful limiting belief, but internal beliefs that people have them prevented, that have prevented them. Sorry, English is not my main first language. That prevented them from becoming multi-million-dollar earners. You're always talking about these limiting beliefs, and I wonder exactly what you mean by them.
Yeah, there's study after study that has proven once you have a certain buffer zone you'll allow yourself to reach, but until you increase that vision, you won't ever make it. If you're just used to making $120,000 a year, most of the time the only thing you're going to study or approach or attempt is something on how to make $150,000 a year. If you're used to earning $200,000 a year, you might think, well, I could probably make $300,000 a year. I was coaching with a guy yesterday he's just trapped at $500,000 a year. And what I told him is, we've got to get you to the point where you experience a $500,000 month. And once we do that, it'll break you through. And understand, I know he's not always going to make a $500,000 month in that business that he's in, but there's just scenarios. The moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, and this particular payment comes this month, and this commission or special thing happens. So, but when you have I think of the first time I broke $50K a month, the first time I broke $100,000 a month, the first time I broke $100,000 in a day. I remember having my first $250,000 day in one of my other businesses, not network marketing, but just expanding my consciousness. So we have millions of people in network marketing, and they see themselves at one of those barrier levels, and they think, well, I can't be a multi-million-dollar earner. I've been doing this for 7 years. I went to seminars, I read books, I listened to podcasts, I talked to my sponsor, I go to every company convention, and nothing works for me. So that's not possible for me. There's something special about those people that make that. And I'm not one of those people. That's the belief you have to blow up. And the point I want to make over and over and over again is that you didn't have a chance. So don't base your belief structure about what you're capable of when you had a bad model. You had a bad premise because you were trying to do this without the 7 components that go in a presentation, and then taking that presentation as part of the bigger framework that we're talking about. You didn't have a chance if you weren't working within that framework. So you got to blow up that internal belief that, oh, that's only for special people. That's not accessible to me. It doesn't matter. If you didn't finish high school, I didn't finish high school. It doesn't matter if you didn't go to college. It doesn't matter if you don't have connections. It doesn't matter if you don't have an influential family. If you're coachable, if you're willing to work and you understand the framework, you can become a multi-million-dollar earner, period.
And it doesn't matter where you stand now, because maybe some people are saying, well, I already earn $10,000 a month and I'm okay with that. And it should be the same to go to $100,000. I just need to work harder. People think that I just need to keep doing the same, more time. But that's not the reality. If you are earning $10,000, that's where your mindset is. And if you're earning $100, that's where your mindset is. And if you want to go to $100,000 a month, then you need to expand, exactly as Randy was saying. Now, there are also external limiting beliefs. People who think that they can do it because of the company or because of the product or because of the industry. what do you think are the most harmful beliefs outside of themselves?
I think the number one limiting belief, which is a lie, but that's why it's a limiting belief, is that it's difficult to build network marketing right now. It's difficult to build network marketing right now at a high level. If I have learned anything through my success, it is many things, but if I've learned anything, I've learned this. It is a lot easier to make a lot of money quickly than it is to make a little money slowly. Let me say that again. It's a lot easier to make a lot of money quickly than it is to make a little amount of money slowly. There's a meme I saw on social media talking about clients, people who are consultants like Jaime and I are. And the joke is the client who pays you $1,500, they send you an email and say, hey, I just sent the check, the $1,500. I know this is going to transform my life. I can't wait to be working with you. The next 10 years, we're going to be so locked at the hip. I know it's going to be transformational, and I'm so committed to this, and I want to let you know I'm going to be there, and we're going to work together. We're going to do. That's what the $1,500 client says. The client who sends you $100,000, they send you an email, they say, money sent, thanks. It's just, and Jaime will testify, any consultant will testify this to. The higher amount of money a client pays you, the easier they are to work with. And the lower amount of money they pay you, the harder they are to work with. And it's the same. In the program I work, we do 3 options. And this is part of the framework, by the way. We have what we call a retailer pack for a couple $100. We have a business builder pack for $500-ish, and this is US dollars. Think about it in your own market. And then we have a leadership pack, about $1,000, right? Literally every single person that I've enrolled in my program has come in at the leadership level. And they're great to work with. Why? Because I don't mess with people with poverty consciousness anymore. I'm too old, I'm too rich. I don't want to play those games, right? It's just, I want people who will make a commitment to themselves. What I've learned is people follow their money. So when I say, well, it's easier to make a lot of money quickly than people say, well, see, there's this stereotype. Gage is doing one of the get rich quick schemes. Well, here's the thing. Everybody's been warning you your whole life about the get rich quick schemes. But has anybody been warning you about the stay broke for life scams? Because there's a lot more of those. And I'm out there warning people about the stay broke for life plans. Okay. Here's what I know. This is an incredible time to be building in network marketing. Now, by the way, you wouldn't know this from what's taken place in the industry. Because Jaime and I, we're inside these companies. We're working with the top income earners in the world. We're working with the top companies in the world. And here's what I'll tell you. Out of every 10 companies, 7 of them are scuffling right now. 7 out of 10, their sales are flat or they're down. So the industry as a whole isn't doing great because people have bought in that story that it's difficult to build network marketing right now. It's people are worried. They think it might be a pyramid. They might think it's a scam, right? But here's what we know working with the 3 out of 10 that are growing right now. The 3 out of 10 are operating differently. They recognize the realities in the marketplace and they're going up. They're profitable. They're growing. They're creating acceleration. And the distributors in those companies, the top leaders, they're creating acceleration. But they don't have the belief that it's difficult to build. The best example is when I had been out of the profession for 7 years, I just consulted. because my company had gone out of business, right? I was earning 50 grand a month, 50K a month. I got a phone call one night. Just gotta let you know, we're closing the comp plan down. And there's thousands of you who have heard those kind of emails and phone calls in the last year. Companies that say, we're just going to retail, or we're just changing to affiliate. Well, that's what happened to me years ago. So I go from 50K a month to zero. And I had so much psychic damage. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to be a trainer and a consultant, and I'll write my books. And then, so 7 years I'm doing that, and I realized, I have arguably trained more millionaires in network marketing than anybody on earth, living or dead. And I'm like, I'm the shoemaker with no shoes. I'm the shoemaker who has kids with bare feet, because I'm not creating residuals. So I go back in the profession after being out for 7 years. Well, what's the first thing I do when I build my presentation? Is I say, okay, now I got to put in the segment about the difference between legitimate companies and pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes. And I'm doing presentations for 3 or 4 months, and I just realized I'm wasting my time with that, because nobody even brings that up. I don't even hear that objection anymore. There's so many public companies, right? Nu Skin is a public company. Herbalife is a public company. Amway is, I guess they're not public, but I mean, they're out there, right? There's so many. Warren Buffett has bought all these direct selling companies and been quoted as saying it's the best investment he's ever done. If you watch the financial markets, you see our profession represented there. So it's like, it's like 1 in 500 people will say, is this one of those pyramid schemes? And if you're smart, the best way to answer is say, yes, it is. And if you hurry, you can get in at the top. Like, okay, here's my credit card. Nobody's asking that question anymore. Nobody's concerned about that anymore. When I started in the business, you were a little ashamed to have a side gig. People with side gigs were like, okay, well, I thought things were going well for Sally, but she's doing that Mary Kay thing or that Pampered Chef thing. Maybe her job isn't doing so well. Or I thought Frank was pretty successful, but he's doing that Herbalife thing. Maybe his company is struggling. That ain't the case anymore. We are in the side gig economy. Everybody has side gigs, all right? Lady Gaga has a side gig. Elton John has a side gig. Everybody has a side gig. You know what I'm talking about? Ryan Reynolds, the actor, has 10 side gigs. LeBron James has 20 side gigs. Everybody has side gigs, right? So, and what's going to happen, of course, we're about to go in the next 1 to 3 years period where AI is just going to disrupt literally millions of jobs. And everyone will be looking at side gigs. So this, I know it's a long answer to that question, but I think it's really a lot of people who suffer from this. They're making it harder than it is because they've created this limiting belief that it's difficult to build network marketing right now. And that's not the case. We're going to look back on this in 2030, in 2040, we're going to say, man, 2025 to 2027, that was like the golden era of network marketing because of all these other factors taking place right now.
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure of that. And those who realize it are growing like crazy, their teams, because everyone is afraid with their jobs and their businesses when they face AI, and people know they should have a plan B. They should have an additional income, and we're still the best option. Just not everyone believes it, and if you don't believe it, people won't believe you either. It's all about the posture there, and the posture needs to have behind that your certainty. You need to actually believe in this. But anyway, we're not just gonna talk about belief. We're gonna talk about a framework that, as I told you, even people who don't believe in this, if they have the right framework, they can succeed. And the one who actually believes in it and have the framework can have generational wealth. And that's what you need to understand. I mean, my grandfather used to smuggle cows. That was his job. He used to smuggle cows illegally from one country to another because that was the only thing he could do. And one generation after that, my mother was a very low income teacher, and then I should be a teacher too, or a waiter.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It is, but just a very, very quick side note. Last month, we were traveling with my whole family, and we have a first class ticket. And when we got to the airport, our flight was canceled. So they told us, you have two options. You need to go on economy, or you need to wait 3 days. So we said, let's go in economy. And my son, who was 9 at the time, 9 years old, got to the plane and said, what's this? What's this shit? What's this seat? Why are we not on that? And that's when I realized, and that's a mess, and I need to solve that with my family. But it was the first time in 9 years that my son knew that there were more seats behind first class traveling. So what I mean is that you really change many generations above, you say?
Yeah.
When you understand this and when you apply this, and it's something, it could be something huge if you have the belief and you have the framework. So I want to go to the framework, but just first, before that, Randy Gage, speaking about frameworks and systems, something very funny is that 9 out of 10 companies now use your system even if you don't know it. Because it's very funny, but when you go to any company, virtually any company, they are doing what you taught on your books. And either they say that they hired you to implement it, or they simply stole it. They sent a spy to one of your trainings and they brought it to their company. So most people in this room are using your system even if they don't know it. So if they are already using the system you taught in your books, and they are already using your tools, why should they change that framework? What changed? What's different?
Yeah, I think the real question, like for me, I look and say, why aren't there more multi-million-dollar producers? I don't get it. Why are people operating at such low levels when I know it's not that it's easy to be a multi-million-dollar producer. It's not easy. It takes work. It takes commitment. But it is simple. I've mapped out the process. I've written 15 books, like 7 of them are about network marketing and systems and stuff. And I always say, why don't people use it? Well, a couple of things. One is some of the components are more recent, right? Like I say, when I first started having success, I was able to go to $50,000 a month income when there were only 5 components in the framework. Today, there's 9 components in the framework. So some people picked up when it was 5, some people picked up when it was 6. At 7, they haven't put the whole thing together. And if you leave 2 of the ingredients out of the recipe for the pineapple upside down cake, it's not going to taste the same as the recipe your mother gave you, right? We've all heard that analogy. So that's part of it. And then I think a lot of it is just people are getting too much information from the wrong sources. In network marketing, we are the most attractive demographic to chase after. We believe in personal growth, self-development, investing in ourselves, buying courses, going to seminars, buying books and audios and videos and coaching programs. And so there's this whole cottage industry of parasites, which have they're locked onto network marketing like barnacles on a whale. And we have all the NLP trainers and the sales trainers and the social media influencers. Now we have the AI gurus, and they're all trying to sell stuff to your team, but they don't understand our business. So like, I was just having a conversation with a guy yesterday, and I'm like, telling him, you're an incredible salesperson. And as long as you're such an incredible salesperson, you're never going to duplicate in the business. You've got to use external source tools. You've got to stop making yourself the star of the show. So there's a lot of that. We have hucksters. We have people who, it's not even that they're has-beens. They're never were. They never built a team. But they were in Herbalife for 4 months in 1991, and they're out there today promoting themselves as a guru. And they've never built a team of more than, 350 people or something. And then you've got the hucksters, the people who are presenting themselves as gurus, but they're really there to steal your team. They're selling the investments, the trader's domain, the MLM crypto scams, and their coaching programs and their whatever. But they've either never done it, or somebody, we've got people out there who are gurus, supposedly. I saw an ad on Facebook just the other day. It's a guy, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but he's like, I am the #1 expert on network marketing in the world. And I'm just spitting out my green tea because I'm like, I know the guy. I know his whole career. I know he has never built a team on his own without deals, where he wasn't placed in a position. There's a lot of people out there. I got to tell this story. I'm new in the business. This is right around the 5th year where I'm starting to make a little bit of money. I'm starting to figure things out. So my sponsor calls me. He says, I'm bringing in, and he said the name of a guru who wrote a book, right? Now, I don't know even if he's still around or still alive or whatever, so I won't mention any names. But for people who've been in the profession, you will know exactly who I'm talking about if I say it has something to do with a napkin. So he says, we're bringing in that napkin guy. He's going to do a training for the team. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So we have a big training on Saturday for the team, and the napkin guy comes in and he does the thing. And then because I'm one of my sponsors, personal people, and I'm starting to do good, I get to be in the private lunch with the napkin guru. So it's me, my sponsor, 5 or 6 other people. We're all, having lunch, and we're going to get the juicy $1 million tips from the guru. And he orders a glass of water, and then he opens up this package and he mixes in this green seaweed thing. And we're like, what? People on the other tables are like, what is that? And he's like, oh, this is an age retardant from Japan. It gives you the sexual appetite of a teenager, but without the acne. But oh my God, what? How do we get that? Oh, it's a network marketing company. I can sign you all up. You can be in my downline, and then you're going to get it for free, and then you can market it with your company. We're like, wow, amazing. So we all agree to sign up for that. Then he takes out his pen, because remember, this is back in the prehistoric days. We had paper application. You have to sign the application. So you sign the application, and then he took the cap off his pen, and it opened into a rubber stamp with his name and ID number and whatever. And he did the stamp on the paper. Oh my God, what is, yeah, oh yeah, this is another network marketing company. It goes perfect with the one you're in. So of course we all signed up for the rubber stamp thing. Then it was the bee pollen thing, and we all signed up for that. And so by the time lunch was over, he signed us up into like 7 companies. And if the guru does it, I mean, this must be what it is. And so I'm, asking questions, maybe with breathless anticipation with the answers. And I talk about the product, and he told me, Randy, products don't matter. It doesn't matter what the products are. You can sell number 2 pencils. They don't matter. What matters is everybody spends $100 every month, and then we get commissions on it. And then, as long as everybody buys their $100, so immediately, we had been a pretty product-focused company and believed in our product. But after having lunch with the guru sage from the mountaintop, we just started, and back in those days, I smoked, right? So I started lighting a cigarette on stage with $100 bill, and I'd burn up the $100 bill. And I'd say, see, the $100 doesn't really matter because I spent $100 to get my products this month, but I've got like 500 people who are each spending $100, and I'm getting mine, so the $100 doesn't work, doesn't matter. And of course, what happened is everybody, I had people on my team taking up smoking just so they could do that at their meetings. And then what happened? In 90 days, I destroyed my team because nobody cared anything about the product. We thought you just buy the product to get the check. But the part he left out is, well, the last people who just joined this week, they don't have anybody under them, so they don't buy $100. They said, well, I'll wait till I have someone under me. And then the people one level up say, well, this didn't work. They told me everybody was going to spend $100, and my people didn't spend $100. I spent $100, and I didn't make overrides. So next month, I'm not going to spend $100 until I see. And level by level, your team just disintegrates because there's no product value culture. And I learned this from somebody who was the guru of the hottest guru of the time, right? And and I know, we started DuplicationNation.com for exactly this reason, to kind of take the profession back from the imposters and the parasites and the con artists and say, hey, we're going to do things of value. We're going to charge for them. And we're going to work with the people who are willing to pay for value and are interested in doing it the right way with integrity. And, but that's why I think we haven't created a lot more multi-million-dollar producers. There's just so much white noise in this space. There's so much bad advice. There's so many bad premises, and people don't know how to sift it through. And that's a crime. I mean, come on. You got Google, you got ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity. It's very easy to research somebody today and find out, are they legit? Are they the real Slim Shady? Or are they just shady, So people need to be a little more discerning from where they're getting their advice.
Yeah, totally agree. Speaking of real value, you already told us the story about how you were broke and then you joined network marketing and you got responsibility over your life, and then you started making more money than ever in your life. But there was another time where your numbers actually exploded, and then you got from having a nice life to being a multimillionaire. And I was just talking about how it's not the same earning 10,000 than 100,000 every month, or 1 million every month. And I wanted you to tell us what changed. What changed in your case when you did that last huge leap?
I think for me, the parallel was I was studying the principles of prosperity. When I was 35 years old, I had made some really stupid decisions. I had gone back in the restaurant business. I had made some money in network marketing. I took all that money and I bought a restaurant and with a partner. And we didn't have enough money to really do it. We were bootstrapping it, trying to pay through the cash flow. We didn't pay the taxes. IRS came, seized the restaurant, auctioned it off at the courthouse. So at that point, I was like 55 grand in debt. No credit cards, didn't own a house. I rented an apartment. I had a leased car, so I lost the lease. So I didn't even have a car. And I was 55 grand in debt. And I'm like, well, maybe Red Lobster will hire me as a manager and I could make $50,000 a year, but I owe 55 grand in debt. How long is it going to take me? And I'm like, I got to get back in network marketing because I had let it atrophy when I got the restaurant, right? And then that company had closed. So I'm like, I got to get back in there. And so this time I really approached it from the scientific basis. And so first, well, two things. One is my vision of prosperity, and two is the scientific approach. So one, the vision was because the great thing about network marketing is it introduced me to self-development. So I was reading the Laws of Prosperity by Catherine Ponder and the magic of thinking big and, expanding my consciousness and realize, going from spending $200 on a car to spending $200 on a pair of shoes to spending $1,000 on a pair of shoes to spending $5,000 on a pair of shoes to spending $10 or $12 or $15,000 on a custom shoes from John Lobb in London, and spending more on a piece of art than I used to spend on a car, spending more on a piece of art than I used to spend on a home, right? I expanded my prosperity consciousness. And this is when I really discovered that it's just easier to make a lot of money quickly than it is to make a little money slowly. It just is. And so I really put that into place and I said, okay, I'm going to build this into my system. And that's when I got all those components. And I started realizing, I'm an incredible presenter because I've done thousands of presentations. But what is the lady on my 25th level who's never met me in person? How is she going to do that presentation? What do I have to do? What are the tools I have to create? PowerPoint, video, flip chart. How do I get so that people can replicate my results? And that's when I added these extra components. Most particularly, here was my mantra. How do I automate? How do I systematize? And how do I scale? And that's what transformed my life. Because back in the day, I would sponsor someone and I would go to their house and spend 2.5 hours with them. Who's your list? Who lives upstairs? Who lives downstairs? Who lives on the left? Who lives on the right? Who did you go to school with? Who did you buy your car from? When I came back in the business, now I was successful in other businesses. I was making money in other things at some point, and I started saying, I don't have time for this. I'm not going to try to drag people across the finish line because they just want to pull me back to the victimhood side. I only want to work with people who want to win. They're coachable, they'll follow the system, and they're willing to invest in themselves. So here's where we're at today. I was crunching some numbers just the other day. I haven't even told you this. I'm looking 36% of the people I'm enrolling are doing nothing because I'm leaving them behind. I'm leaving them behind with love. I'm leaving them behind with hesitation and regret for them, but I'm not willing to allow them to hold me back. So there's 36% of the people that I'm saying, okay, I have built out this elegant step-by-step system. We have this, here's the standardized presentation. Here's the candidate pathway. Here's the tools you use in each thing. And here's the onboarding process. Go through this onboarding process and call me. And if I'm not hearing from you in 24 hours, I'm saying, I haven't heard from you. Have you gone through the onboarding process? You're busy and I gotta get, okay, great. Second time, hey, have you been through the onboarding process? With 3 strikes, you're out. I'm not, that's it. I'm not chasing after people who don't want it for themselves. And I'm willing to take the hit and know, wow, I can look at if I run a report just of my personals and say, okay, how many people did I sponsor over the last 6 months or 6 years or whatever? Wow, 36% of them aren't happening, but it's not on me, that's on them. And again, it's that prosperity consciousness. I'm literally this week revising my website, and I'm raising my speaking fee to $100,000 a speech. And that's it. I'm only taking clients for $100,000. I don't have time for the ham and eggers. I don't have time for the consulting clients who want for 50. No, I don't have time for that. I'm operating at the highest level of my life right now, right? I've done it. I've produced $22 billion, more than $22 billion worth of sales. You know what you are doing with your clients, with the companies you're working with, the people in LATAM. You know the kind of results you get. We're not giving book reports of some crap we read in somebody's $8 book on Amazon. We're not experimenting with people. We've got a proven results framework. And at some point you step up, and that's kind of what I did. Is I just said, okay, I'm not going to chase people. I'm going to find a way to scale. So instead of going 3 hours to someone's house and doing the list with them and holding their hand and giving them a shoulder massage and cooking them breakfast or whatever, I'm like, finish the onboarding and call me. Because when I do that, it means I could put in 11 people in 1 week and then work with the ones who are serious. Whereas if you can't scale, then you can only work with 2 people at a time. And then if they get sketchy after 3 weeks, you're back to square one. So I'm, how do you automate? How do you systematize? How do you scale? And that framework allows you to do all 3.
So I want you to tell us the exact framework, because I'm guessing many people want that, but just very quick, before that, you mentioned Pablo Escobar from MLM. Who's that?
Okay, so I started the company. I started my profession, my experience in the business with the main company that most people know, which again, I won't mention. I started with them. I didn't make any money with them, but they did really well. They were doing billions and billions of dollars. But I left them. So later, after my 7 years as a consultant and my sabbatical, whatever, and I come back into business, I joined that company a second time. And I was approached by someone who said, hey, with what you do and your experience, you know what you could do with this, because the company's so proven, the product line, the comp plan, all that stuff is in place. You don't have to worry, is it going to go out of business like your last company? They're a benchmark and the thing. And I'm like, yeah. So I joined the company a second time, and I got in the inner circle of one of those leaders in that company. And they had this system of tools. And unfortunately, they made most of their money off of tools. So there was a audio of the week, like 2 audios of the week, and the book of the month, and the event structure. And so they would talk about the incomes that the top earners were making, but for what I could see, about 40% of that was from the mining the miners, selling tools to the team. And that was a big epiphany for me, because I thought, now that I know what I know and the kind of systems I built, and I was very impressed with the systems that they had built. And I thought, what if I was able to integrate those things in for my team, but I didn't make money off them? That was a huge breakthrough for me. But so I called this guy the Pablo Escobar of MLM, because people don't know that there was a time back in the cocaine cowboy days of here in Miami, right? There was a time Pablo Escobar was the biggest purchaser of rubber bands in South America, Central America, Latin America, whatever we want to call it, because they rubber banded their stacks of money. And he was buying tens of thousands of boxes of rubber bands, because they had so many billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of cash that they had to drive in semi-trailers, right? So you fill up a semi-trailer with these just stacks of $100 US dollar bills, because they were laundering the money through here in Miami, right? And they wanted US dollars. And he had his private zoo with the hippopotamuses and all that stuff. But he weighed his money. And this guy that I'm talking about, that's how it was with him. He had to weigh his money to count it, because all the cash from the system stuff, which may or may not have been declared on the income tax returns. I don't know. I'm not, this person is no longer living, so I don't want to speak ill of the dead. There's children and grandchildren, so I'm keeping the name anonymous. But again, people in the space, they'll know exactly who I'm talking about. So I'm over at his palatial mansion one day, and he had some workers working on the home, and they needed some to get paid at the end. And he had this wall filled with credenzas, big drawers, like 4-foot wide drawers, 2 foot deep, whatever. And the drawers were filled with cash, just bundled in those rubber bands. And so because when you went to the events, you paid cash for them. Started as $5 events, became $10 event, became $20 events. So you would go and everybody just gave a $20 bill. So he had just pallets of $20 bills. That's why I say I'm kind of curious what the tax scenario might have been. But that was the lesson I learned from the Pablo Escobar of MLM was, wow, what if I did that system and didn't make money on the tools, but I used it to show people how they could make more money in their bonus checks. And that was a huge breakthrough for me.
Amazing story. Well, let's go to the framework, because I have people on the chat who are telling me that they are ready to trade someone in their family if it's necessary, just to get that framework. So let's not delay that anymore. Can you please explain?
They have to write in the chat, I want to count my money with a scale. And if we have enough money people who write in the chat.
Exactly. Put the word scale. Put the word scale. And if we have enough word scale, we just share the framework. We already have it. So.
All right. So yeah, there's 9 components. One of them is the presentation part. Remember I said there's 7 components in that. So that's like within the bigger ones. But let's go through this, because Again, if you never come to the lab, if you apply and you don't get accepted, because just might as well put it out there, we're not accepting people from Ponzi schemes and crypto scams, right? There's a lot of events and trainers. That's actually how they're successful, because there's so many crypto scammers who with a lot of money who pay them, and we don't accept those clients. So if you're not accepted to be one of the 35, or you just can't be there for any reason, or you don't hire Jaime and I to consult with your company, whatever, if you just understand this framework, it's literally worth millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars if you will go out and apply it. This is 45 years of my experience distilled into, okay, what's the system? What's the framework? All right, so let's break it down. Number one, and you guys, you can write this in the chat if you want somebody. Number one is a compelling company origin story. I can't tell you how many companies I think fall down because they don't know how to do this. Company after company, they'll hire, me, you, both of us, whatever. And, here's our recruiting video. And the recruiting video is the founder. Well, back in 1992, I joined this company and, but their pay plan was crappy. And so then in 1999, I joined this company and that happened. Who cares? Unfortunately, the origin story for most companies, if we're being honest, is two guys are sitting in a bar, knocking back shots. And after the eighth one, the guy on the left says, you know what we should do? We should start an MLM company. And the other guy says, great idea. What should we sell? And then they call one of these private white label companies and get a protein bar and a shake and a vitamin mineral and an energy drink. And that's how they started. And they wonder why nobody is inspired for that. What is the reason to be? What is the amazing scientific breakthrough that happened in a laboratory somewhere that led to your company creating a product? What is the epiphany that happened in your world that led you to, meaning you being the founder or the co-founder or the owner? What is that story? What people don't understand is network marketing is not a sales business. It's a storytelling business. People join things, people do things, behavior happens because people are attracted to a story. When I write a book, right, I'll outline, okay, I've got 12 chapters in this book. The first thing I do? So what is the story that I'm going to open each chapter with? Because I learned with Bill Gove, who was the first president, Bill Gove, not Bill Gould, Bill Gove, who was the first president of the National Speakers Association. And he was a mentor of mine. And he told me, Randy, you can't just give a seminar on 27 secrets to success because nobody will remember it. You got to tell a story, make a point. And because they remember the story, they remember the point. So that's all I do. Why have I been so successful in network marketing? I tell stories. And I tell stories so people have epiphanies, right? So what is the compelling origin story that what your company is about? Number two, an intriguing product narrative. Again, if you're just white labeling the same crappy products that 27 other companies are selling, why would anyone want to join your company? What is, if you're out there, like one of the things that shocks people, and when I talk about the mental models of what I look for, like if I was today looking for a company to join, and you said, well, what's the criteria? I use more than 75 mental models to evaluate a company. And there's probably 5 or 6 models of products. Are they unique, exclusive, highly consumable? Do they create an emotional attachment? Are they demonstrable? And you know what? One of the most important ones is, are they premium quality? Whatever, if it's nutrition or skincare or face care or whatever, is it premium quality? Because you never want to be in a market where you're chasing the bottom. If you saw this back in the day when we used to pay for long distance by the minute. We had company after company after company that came into network marketing selling long distance plans. I used to call my grandmother every week, and after 2 minutes, she would say, I know this is costing you, Randy, so I'm going to let you go now. Because she knew I was paying 33 cents a minute, and she thought that was going to break the bank. And then network marketing got it. Then it was 29 cents a minute, 27 cents a minute, 23 cents, 19 cents, 17 cents, 15. A race to the bottom. Why are none of the long distance companies in business today? Because they weren't selling a premium product. They were selling a cheap product. Even today, when I see we have these vitamins and they're so much cheaper. We have vitamins for only $5. I would never join a company with a $5 vitamin. And I know I'm pissing some people off, right? So some of you are going to be logging out. You're, canceling me in the chats. But Jaime and I, we don't pull punches. We tell you the truth as we know it. And if it's not okay with you, that's okay with us. We're just, right? Think of the iPhone. When iPhone came out, only rich people could have iPhones. It was a premium product. What happens today? Homeless people have iPhones, for God's sake. They really do. What has happened? Mass production has brought the price down. But that only happened because it was financed by wealthy people. Tesla, when Tesla came out, only rich people got Teslas, right? Now there's an affordable car that all kind of families, an electronic, EV Tesla, that, and obviously Elon's got his political issues that he's going through some drama and trauma right now, but that's irrelevant to our point. The point is it started as a premium product and got enough acceptance, so come in. And just like I do with my consulting clients, just like I do with every business, I don't want the bottom feeders. I don't want the price sensitive people. When they call me up and say, Randy, okay, I want to come to your amazing $15,000 program, but I don't have the money. And if I took it from my kid's college fund, or I could put it on my credit card. I tell them, no, don't come. This program's not right for you. You're not ready for it yet. It's just, right? You pick the marketplace you want to serve. And this second one, this product narrative, what is the story? What is the reason? Don't be afraid to have a premium product. Don't be afraid to have a different product. Be loud and proud that it's a premium product. But have a narrative that explains the value of that product. And you damn better well have talking points that the people in the field and tools that they can convey that narrative. Okay, number 3 is a mass market recruiting tool. This is a printed item, booklet, brochure. You want something that when someone's on a plane, they're in an Uber or a Lyft, they can leave it in the seat pocket. When they go to the chiropractor or the dentist or the accountant, and there's a waiting room with 20-year-old dog-eared magazines, they could leave 10 of those mass market recruiting tools on there. You want something physical that when they met someone, they're on a plane, they're impressed by the flight attendant, they might never see that person again. You want to have something you can say, hey, if I give you this booklet, if you're interested, if I give you this booklet and my contact info is on the back. That's what we mean by a mass market tool. If I look at 100 network marketing companies today that are not clients of Lokier, Gage, Duplication Nation, if I look at 100 of them, 99 of them don't have a mass market recruiting tool. Why? Because they say, it costs money. Do you know how much it costs to print those? We're in the digital age. We have PDFs. We just email people. Okay, great. That's why you're one of the 7 companies that sales are going down, and our companies are in the 3 that are going up, because we have people investing in the right things. All right, number 4. This one I'm going to break out a little. Okay, this is the standardized presentation structure. And this, when I say I want to break it down, this is the thing Jaime and I wrote this special report on. So track that down. Maybe we can put it in the chat. You need to have 7 segments in there. All 7 have to be in there. If you're missing one of them, then you won't get the optimal result. There's 2 emotional triggers that increase conversions by 60%. They need to be in there. It needs to be done in a PowerPoint. So again, people can duplicate it. And for some of these markets, if you're working in Peru or somewhere, you better have a flip chart, like on sheets. They don't have the broadband on their phone to, same thing, if you're working in Africa, they don't have the broadband on the phone to stream stuff. There should be an intrigue video that brings people to the presentation. And then there should be a full-length video of this standardized presentation. So that's this big all-encompassing component. Number 4 is the presentation structure. Standardized. So everybody, like if you and me and Jaime were all 3 in the same company, we all do opportunity meetings. You do the first week of the month, I do the second week, Jaime does the third one. We're all going to follow the same standardized presentation, but we'll each be unique. Jaime will have his stories and jokes. You'll have your stories and jokes, right? We add the personality, we add the flavor, but you got to have the skeleton. You got to have the outline to keep people out of the ditches. Number 5. You need an event, what we call a ladder of escalation. Now, what that is a series of presentations. Let me see how I'm doing time-wise. A series of presentations that bring people up and escalate each time. So first contact might be qualifying question. Second contact, they're looking at a sizzle or intrigue video for 2 minutes. Then they're going to a home meeting, or they're watching a video on their phone, or they're going into a live stream on Facebook. And then it's a bigger one. Maybe it's a hotel opportunity meeting. Maybe it's a major event. Maybe it's a worldwide live stream with 8,000 people on it. But you're going to see as you study these components, they're all based on human behavior, psychological dynamics, what causes people to act. And the psychological dynamic of the ladder of escalation is that every time somebody sees a presentation, it's a bigger deal than the last time. There's more social proof than the one before. Number 6 is a product line video. Meaning a video, remember that product narrative, which is number 2 component? There has to be a video, because we're in the video age. Even though your people are all experts, and if you're a nutrition company, they're all expert nutritionists and wellness people, you need a video so the Uber driver, the school teacher, or the janitor can get the same results. Número 7 is a product line print collateral, also known as a catalog, booklet, brochure, or a thing we do for our clients called a magalog, where we create a 4-color, printed, glossy, beautiful catalog that actually looks like a magazine you would find in the newsstand. Once again, if we go and look at 100 companies who are not clients of Duplication Nation, 99 won't have it. Because they say, we're not printing all that. You know how much 4-color printing costs? I get it. We're not printing that. We have 17 different languages. You know how expensive it is to print in 17 languages? I get it. I hate it. It says, Jaime and I are distributors, right? We know the hassles of, it's like events. You got 17 languages that need interpreter booths and whatever. And all of a sudden now you need $100,000 in the budget just for interpreters. It's right, but there are some things you say, okay, I got to make this investment in this. There are some things that need to be tactile, printed, physical, and this product line collateral is one of them. All right, number 8 is the onboarding process. How do you bring in a new distributor, get them active, get them successful quickly? What's the new distributor orientation? And again, it has to be in a book or booklet or video or online, video to work along with or whatever. It has to be standardized. What we know with every fiber of our beings is you will make or break your new distributors in the first 2 weeks, and the first 2 days are critical. So if you get them onboarded, you get them with their list, they're set up with their payment and how to order and how to enroll people, and they've gone through the orientation, and you've got them getting some customers and distributors within 48 hours, you reduce your dropout, increase your retention by literally more than 80%. But that's all in the onboarding process. All right, finally, number 9, part of the component structure, the framework, is, best way to call it is a orphan rescue structure. Now, what do we mean by this? Well, it's very simple. You're going to have people on your 15th level who join the business this week. They're going to make presentations, and they're going to put somebody on your 16th level. That person on the 16th level is going to put someone on the 17th level next week. That same week, the person on the 15th level is going to drop out. It happens. They die, they get run over by a bus, the scooter, they get spinal meningitis and die in 24 hours. They quit, they take a deal, they think that this other company's better, they join the crypto scam, their boss gives them an extra project, they have a baby, the wife gets relocated, the husband, things happen, people drop out. Once you have a big team, you're gonna have, you might have 312 people drop out in the month of May, and they have brought people in. And if you don't have the structure of the company-wide or team-wide events and tools, WhatsApp group, Signal group, Facebook group, team website, team chat, events, if you don't have that structure in place that they can plug into, you lose all those orphans and it kills your duplication. But when you build out the other 8 things the right way, it creates the 9th component because the structure is there. So that, boys and girls, guys and gals, moms and dads, non-binaries, whoever, you want to know, okay, what do I need to produce a multi-million-dollar organization? That is the framework to follow.
So, Randy, Gage, we've been implementing this framework with our clients, with corporate people who are willing to pay more than $500,000 for this framework in their companies. And now we're gonna...
Some are paying $1 million to get this framework implemented. So we need to
Yeah,
say,
I mean the minimum.
yeah, it's $500,000 to $1 million, depending on how much assistance they require. Just so people watching who aren't company owners and aren't VP of marketing or CEO or whatever, but you're a team leader who has hungry mouths to feed, and you need to know the value of what this structure means to you.
So we've implemented this with many companies now, and they are now of the biggest in the world. And we're gonna teach up to 35 lucky people how to actually build these 9 components. And I'm saying up to 35 because people need to how you say, they take a survey. It's not a survey, it's they need to apply.
Yeah, they have to go through an application process.
Exactly, they need to go through an application process, and we're gonna select up to 35. But if we only find 2 people who have what it takes to actually implement this, and they are on a solid company, because we're not taking people from any pyramid scheme, and if we only find 2, we will do it with 2. If we find
already, there's at least 17 that would already qualify, that have approached us just based on my blog. But yes, you're correct.
Yeah. What I mean is that not all of them will pass the application process. We need to actually select them. So it will be up to 35 people that we select. Right now, we have more applications than that, but we will select up to 35. So with that in mind, this is something that's never been done before. This is the first time we're gonna share this information with people who are not paying us more than $500,000. This is the first time that we are explaining people how to do it themselves, because usually we don't say that, we don't teach that, so we implement it for them. So this is the first time we're gonna teach people how to implement it themselves, which should be way more valuable, because they could replicate this as many times as they want. But anyway, can you please sketch out the details and explain what is this recruiting lab, and how can we be so confident on the results of the people?
Yeah, when he says, how can we be so confident on the results? For you guys who don't know this yet, and you don't, most of you, we're offering people this unconditional, no risk, 100% money back guarantee. And you are the judge, right? If for any reason you see, I don't think I can become $1 million earner with this, I'm leaving, I want my money back, you have it. And we're even going to finance it for people to say, hey, pay us from the extra bonus check money that you earn by what you learn. Okay, that's just to set that up. Okay, so all right, what is this lab? Why can we be so confident that this will make you a multi-million-dollar producer? And if you are a multi-million-dollar producer, or you're a co-founder or CEO of a company, or you're just founding a company, we'll show you how to leverage that even more. So if you're you say, hey, I already make $2.1 million a year with my network marketing company. Why should I come to this? Because if you're really, and if it's no BS, not this thing where you're in some binary program and you say you make $40,000 a month, but you actually have to spend $20,000 a month to get the $40,000, buying positions, or you have to prop up people and you have to do an Easter egg hunt to get the money. Okay, no. But if you say, no, I make 2.1 million or 1.7 million or $3 million a year, you're the kind of person, you come to this, we'll show you how to make it 50 million a year, 80 million a year. You'll see, and you'll be, again, 100% money back guarantee. All right, so why do we call it a lab? I love, by the way, that analogy of SpaceX and the lab and just getting the engineers together and saying, okay, how do we test the law of physics and see what is the actual limitations of physics in this area? That's what we're going to be doing here. This is not a talking head seminar. It's a lab. So you will be doing interactive work the whole time. You will be working on your product narrative. You'll be working on your compelling story. We'll be doing PowerPoint presentation, all that stuff. So you'll be building out your components under our guidance. We're going to do hot seats where we pick a volunteer from the audience. They'll come up and we'll do like one on presentation outline. Okay, what should the outline of your standardized presentation be? We'll bring up somebody from the audience, put them on stage, and we'll build it out with them, and you'll watch and take notes. And just know, it's, everything we do, like Duplication Nation, our MLM confidential newsletter, we do everything generic. But you need to understand, this lab is not generic. We are going to be building PowerPoints, storyboarding videos, creating decks, for the people in the room. So don't bring somebody if they're not a big kid. If you think they're a flight risk and they're gonna jump to some other deal, don't bring them. Okay. So we're gonna be doing these hot seats, creating presentation outlines, designing PowerPoint decks, developing the candidate pathways, critiquing. We'll have people actually get up and do portions of their opportunity presentation, and then we'll critique that. We're going to help people. We're going to bring up a hot seat and create a storyboard for a product line video, a storyboard for a presentation video. Then workshop sessions. You'll be doing workshops on how you make your invitations more compelling, how to organically recruit online, how to create an active recruiting culture in your team instead of a passive one, and the science behind building an effective ladder of escalation, and of course the rescue infrastructure. Once that infrastructure is in place, you can add 500 to 5,000 people a month on an ongoing basis. When you really get it set up and you're locked in, we test, track, modify, figure out the right thing. Once that's operational, depending on the size of your team, you can add between 500 to 5,000 people every month. The pre-event homework is worth 25 grand. You're going to apply, we accept you, we're going to do an interview, we accept you, then we're going to give you homework. So you're going to come here, you're going to come to Vegas knowing what you don't know, knowing what you're missing, knowing the missing pieces that need to be put in. So that it's worth 25 grand just to go through that. You're going to get a workbook. That workbook is worth 5K. And believe me, people will be selling it on the black market. I know it. We're going to tell them not to, but I know there'll be people selling it on the black market for 5K after this thing. You're going to get membership in our Prodigy Council. That costs 15 grand a year. You're going to get it included in the lab. Why? Because we want to meet with you every month and make sure you're implementing this right. So we are gifting you a $15,000 membership into the Prodigy Council to make sure you apply this stuff. So the whole package is worth more than $100,000. As a distributor. This is the stuff, again, $500,000 to $1 million we charge a company. It's worth more than 100 grand to an individual, and you can get it for just this first beta test, the first one, for only $15,000. And we're going to finance the $15,000, and you have 100% money back guarantee. Okay, so we literally are saying, hey, if you qualify, you pass the application, we'll finance it for a year, because we know how much we can grow your volume, which will grow your volume. If you're a company owner, I mean, the amount of money that you could add to your revenue is astounding. So we'll finance it. And when we say unconditional guarantee, I mean unconditional. What we're saying is it's a 4-day event, all day. We're going all day, even in the evening. So come for day 1, stay day 2 up to the dinner break. So you got, 15, 20 hour, whatever worth of, you'll know if this is right for you. If you think this will not make you a multi-million-dollar producer, if you say, hey, I think it'll only make me $900,000, just let us know you're going home and you got 100% refund, no questions asked. If you say, I'm going home because I don't like the color of the shoes that Jaime is wearing, no questions asked, 100% money back guarantee. You got to fill out the application. It's first come, first serve, and it's literally 35 slots. We will not take 36. We will not take 37, because it's just too interactive. There's too much percolating, mad genius, masterminding creativity. We couldn't do this with it. So we're doing this as the prototype. I promise you, if you're watching this video in 2026 or 2027, I'm telling you right now, it's not $15,000. It's probably $50,000. It might be $75,000. It might be $100,000. I don't know what the price will be. But this initial time, we're doing it for the 35 people for $15K. So that's the, is that what you're looking for, Jaime? Like, the breakdown of what it is, what it costs, who should be there, what else?
Yeah.
What did I miss? Anything?
Of course, if someone needs more information, here we're gonna leave the website. You can just go there and watch every detail, everything we're gonna do, exactly word by word, the warranty that Randy said. So you can bring your lawyer and read that warranty with you, so you know that it's really no questions asked. And just Carlos is typing on the chat that he would love something like that. They don't have anything like this in his company, but he's not a big rank yet. He doesn't know if this is right for him. What would you say to people who are not just quite sure if this is for them?
All right, you got to put down a $3,000 deposit to just get the application and go through the interview. We have to know you're serious. If you cannot put down $3,000 US without creating financial hardship on yourself and your family, then you should not come. It's definitely not for you. So please, if you cannot put that deposit, then we love you and we want to help you. We got lots of free stuff at duplicationnation.com. We have a newsletter for leaders that's like $150 a year, I think, called MLMconfidential.com. There's my books, Jaime's books. We've got incredible stuff to help you if this isn't right for you. You got to be able to do that. And then we'll finance the rest, okay? How do you know it's right for you? Because here would be the safeguards we put in place for you. Number one is you can bring one person with you for only $3,500 extra. So if you're mid-level leader and this is kind of a stretch, you might sell it to somebody in your sponsorship line. Literally, I have a lady who did that, who she's just, she's making, I think she makes like $5,000 a month. This was really scaring her. She sold the idea to her sponsor, because I mentioned this in one of my podcasts about 3 weeks ago. So she immediately, I want to buy, and that's what she did. Or you may be the top leader and say, I want to bring Sally, my top line, with me. Or some of you, you're a CEO or a founder, and you want to bring your top distributor. So that way you have two minds doing the Vulcan mind meld thing there. So you can bring one key person for only $3,500 more. There will be the hot seats, and you should know you learn more when you're not on the hot seat. It's just human nature. When you're up there, you kind of defend yourself, but when it's someone else, you can extrapolate it on how it applies to you. The workbook will guide you through it. You're going to be doing exercises all through the 4 days to actually build out your component. You have us working with you, follow up for 1 year. And again, it's zero risk, 100% satisfaction guarantee. You and you alone are the judge.
Well, so that's it. If you are one of those people who really want to be one of the big kids in your company, one of the guys doing something that really works long term, or if you're the owner of the company, because by the way, a couple of those who were already accepted are owners of companies. So you could be the owner, you could be one of the big leaders, you could be someone who wants to become a big leader. This is the only place to find this information. And let me tell you something, just a very quick story. When I joined network marketing, the first 4 people I recruited, I didn't have any success with them. I was like a revolving door. One was coming in and then the other one was going out for different reasons, but I couldn't get one person to actually work with me. And then I sponsored one more that was living in another city very far away from me. It was far because I was broke, so I had to go on a bus, and it was like 15 hours on a bus. If I had the money to go on a plane, it would be a 2-hour flight, but it was very hard for me. It was very hard for me to go to work with this guy. And suddenly he started climbing all the ranks and it started working amazingly. By the time he got to the 3rd rank, I already sponsored 12 people. And out of those 12 people, 11 were out of the business already. The only one that was still in the business was this guy, lived in Merida. And I called him. I had to call him and say, hey, please tell me what you're doing. I mean, I'm your upline, but you're having more success than I. So please tell me what you're doing. And he said, I will always remember this. I don't want to tell you. Please tell me. No, I don't want to tell you. Please tell me. So he told me, okay, I will tell you. The reason why I'm having this success is because you're not here. Why is that? And he told me, because you are not here, I had to find a way to understand the business because you were not here to explain it to me. So I bought a CD set called Duplication U, like Duplication University. It was a 5-set. It was CDs. We used to learn with CDs. Friends, millennial friends, hashtag let me explain you. We used to listen to music with these little platinum discs. So this guy bought a 5-set CDs that explained the exact framework for being successful in network marketing. made by Randy Gage, which I didn't knew by the time. I was in his company, but I was new. I didn't know that he was part of the company. And that's when we learned the system. We bought these CDs and we made all our team to buy the CD. So when you recruited someone, you had to give them this CD set so they learned the same system. And that was the key of our success. And we built something huge because of that. And this is something that you cannot invent. It's something that have worked for decades. And I know that people say, but now things are different. And you are right. The tools are different. And some tactics are different. But the principles are the same. And that's what you're going to learn here. You're going to learn also the principles that will work forever. So for real, I'm not just telling you something that worked for my business. I've been consulting with other companies for 8 years. Some of them are the biggest companies in Latin America, and I'm using the exact same framework. So we're gonna have up to 35 people here. You could be one of them, but you need to hurry up. So that's it, my friend. Do you have something else to say?
Yeah, so Andrea, please put the link in the chat where they can apply. Um, this framework, I want to go back to something we talked about earlier. This framework is a whole new opportunity. Whatever you knew, whatever you thought was network marketing 2 hours ago is no longer the same. The business you would have been trying to build 2 hours ago isn't the same as the one you will build after this lab. You will have the scales removed from your eyes. You will have the limiting beliefs that have been holding you back, will blow them up. This is a pilot program, 35 people. If you are one of the people in Las Vegas, it's at a secret location. Don't ask in the chat where it's going to be. We're not telling anyone. It's only the 35 people who will be there will get instructions where to go in Vegas. But those 35 people will have a head start bigger than anyone on earth. If you think it's a stretch for you, sell it to your upline leader. If you think if your upline leader, sell it to your CEO. But find a way to have you and one other person from your company at this lab in person. Submit your application. First come and be like, we say 35 slots, but as you've already heard, there's not 35 left. There's already people we've accepted. So I don't know the exact amount at this moment of the space-time continuum, but I'm telling you, they're going to go fast. So lock in your spot to get the interview and the application. I wrote that book, How to Build a Multi-Level Money Machine. I chose that title because that's my approach. I do believe what we're talking about doing and what we'll show you how to do at the lab is to build a flywheel. If you've ever read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, it talks about how companies create flywheels. And we will help you build out a flywheel, which is a nice way of saying an income generating machine. IGM, an income generating machine. This is how I approach really every business in my life right now. I want to know, how do I automate? How do I systematize? How do I scale? We'll show you how to automate, how to systematize, how to scale, how to build out the framework so you have an income generating machine. Las Vegas, June, 5th to 9th? You
5, 6, 7, and 8.
5, 6, 7, and 8 June, and you got to get in on the 4th because we're going to start at 9 a.m. and you got to go home the next day because we're going deep. So this isn't a parachute in for 10 minutes thing. You better be there, locked in for the week, because will transform your career and it'll transform your life. No, there's no live stream. There's no Zoom. You have to be in the room. It won't be recorded. We will never sell recording because people will be talking about the most private elements of their business. When you're on the hot seat, you will be allowed to have someone record you so you can take it back. But otherwise, no one will even be able to record in the room because this is proprietary information that's worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. So if you're tired of whatever level you're at and you're ready to break through and you say, okay, instead of having a $50,000 a year, I want to have a $50,000 a month, you need to be there in Vegas. So look forward to seeing you guys there. Peace.
Hey, do me a favor before you go. Please rate this podcast and then share it with people you know who could benefit from the business building advice here. And then if you're watching on YouTube or if you're on one of the other platforms that allow comments, please get down below, give us a shout out to the community in the comments section. Thanks.